Can you remember back to when you began riding initially and your hands and holding the reins may have felt, well, a little strange? And then it was kind of a case of once you got the hang of it, it was a set it and forget it kind of a thing. Well, I think that's the problem many riders are having. They don't actually ever revisit their hands. Your hands are a really important aid when it comes to riding. So this week we're going to be diving into your hands and what you can begin doing today to begin improving this aid for you and your horse. Okay, let's jump in. Hey there, and welcome to the Daily Strides podcast. My name is Lorna. I'm an equestrian trainer and coach. And I love helping riders, particularly those who don't have a trainer or coach, figure things out, get things moving, and actually train themselves and their horse so they can have a better relationship. Okay, so all that being said and done, today I want to dive into one of the things that many riders see as being, a bit beginnery, and that is your hand aids. And yes, your hand aids, as I mentioned in the intro, they are an aid that you may have last looked at a long time ago. But there's nothing really beginnery about them, because often what's really important and what we need to understand about the hand aids are not actually explained to us. So first and foremost, it's important to understand that your hands connect, okay? Now, obviously, it's fairly kind of obvious that they are the connection between your hands and the horse's mouth through the reins. We know that, okay? But one of the reasons I wanted to bring this episode to you today is because very often for many riders, that's actually where that connection ends. And that is such a pity, because one of our jobs and responsibilities as a rider is to refine the communication, to refine the connection, okay? And when you can really begin to refine your hands, you'll actually find that you can refine the whole conversation between you and your horse, okay? So all that being said and done, and just like all of your other aids, where you're actually positioning your hands is really, really important, because if they're in the right place, it allows you to be more clear with what you're saying. So it makes it easier for your horse to understand, okay? And I think that, we talk about goals all the time as riders. Well, improving clarity and communication should definitely be a goal, okay? I think that's really, really important, okay? So what are we aiming for when we think about our hands, okay? Now, I do realize that every rider and horse has a unique blend, a unique combination. This will depend on how you're put together, how your horse is put together, your experience, your training, your physical development, all that fun stuff, okay? It's all going to play a factor and play a part. But for the most part, there's a couple of kind of little rules we can start to apply, okay? Or if you want it less as rules, more like pointers that we can use to really and truly begin to refine our hands. And the first is that thumbs are on top. Now, this is a little detail, but the devil's in the details, hey? And this one can make a massive difference. And the reason I'm putting it first is because it's the one I see most riders not doing. Okay, so imagine you're riding your horse. You're riding along. Where are your thumbs? Are they on top? Are they the topmost point of your hand? Or are your knuckles, which is what most people do, okay? They ride the horse like they would ride a mountain bike. No. We need to turn those wrists so that our thumbs are on top. We need to imagine we are carrying cups of tea, okay? Now, anybody who's actually met me in life and, in person, that's what I do. I'm all the time in the arena with cups of tea. I'm a bit of a master, actually, of carrying cups of tea around an arena. So it's something I'm good at. It's something I understand. There's tension. It's something that I know feels like holding reins, okay? So practice at home every morning. Obviously, you'll only have one cup, but if you can have two, bring a cup to somebody else and just practice walking around with cups of tea. But experiment with it. Experiment when you're riding with putting your thumbs on top, okay? And how it feels when your thumb is on top, how it feels through your arm. Notice that when your thumb is on top, your arm feels loose, nice, relaxed, free, supple, okay? Notice that when you turn your knuckle on top, there is tension that is passed through the outside of your arm all the way down through your hand, through the rein, and to your horse's mouth. You don't want that tension there. Okay. Next thing is from the side, we should be able to see a line from your elbow to your wrist, to your thumb, to the rein, to the mouth. Okay. A nice straight line. This line should be present. It should be a straight line. It should be present regardless of what you're doing, regardless of if you're doing a transition, if you're walking, trotting, cantering, jumping, makes no difference, galloping. Okay. This line is in place. And this is a line you need to begin to cultivate. Okay. So how are you going to do it? Well, review a couple of photos or videos of yourself and have a look. Do you need to lift your hands a little higher? Meaning, do you need to bend your elbows? Do you need to drop your hands a little lower? Do you need to open your elbows? Okay, have a look at the line. It's really, really important. And then when you're riding, glance down and look for the second line. There should be a line from your wrist through to your thumb, the rein, to the horse's mouth. Okay, if that line deviates from straight, so you see a lot of people, and instead of their thumbs pointing towards the horse's mouth, their thumbs point to each other. No. We don't want to do that, okay? We want to keep the thumbs pointing to the horse's mouth. Notice that, okay? If there's any curling or twisting there, straighten it out, okay? That is really important. Okay, now, if your hands are too low, okay? I see a lot of riders do this in a misguided attempt to get their horse, quote unquote, on the bit. And what ends up happening is from the side view, you actually lose that straight line from the elbow through to the mouth, okay? You get this straight line from the elbow to the horse's, from the elbow to the rider's fingers, and then from the rein, there's another straight line to the horse's mouth. So it's got a V in it, okay? We don't want that, okay? When you have your hands like that, what it does is it really and truly puts pressure on maybe the parts of the mouth where you don't want the pressure to be, and it actually causes the horse to do things differently than how you really want. The long and the short of it is it's going to work against any sort of good quality contact and connection that you're trying to develop. So lift your hands, bend your elbows, lift your hands, okay? Now, similarly, if your hands are too high, I often see this where riders are nervous, okay? When they get nervous, they like lift their hands up to try and balance themselves. It's like the reins become two safety cables and they're like, way, and they're trying to, I don't know, it's like they're kind of kite surfing or something, using the reins to balance, okay? Don't do that, okay? What happens here is it actually causes quite a bit of discomfort for the horse due to the fact that you're, again, changing where the pressure is applied. And what you'll often find is that the horse really doesn't enjoy it and, won't allow it for any length of time. The horse really will get upset. I think a horse will very often put up with hands or reins that are too low, but it's very rare that a horse will tolerate for any length of time hands that are too high. So just open your elbows slightly and relax, okay? That's really important. Now, if your wrists are twisted, okay, and you can check this when you're on your horse, and I want to emphasize here, you are not to look down, you merely glance down. They are two different things, okay? But if you are riding with, again, it's like your thumbs might be pointed towards each other, it kind of gives you the impression that from your elbow down to the horse's mouth is a bit like a lightning bolt, okay? There's like this kind of a funny little speed wobble in the middle of it, okay? That is not going to bode well for you and your horse from a straightness element, but also then for that contact and connection, okay? You want to make sure that your wrist is nice and soft, okay? And you've got the suppleness there, okay? If you do need to, a lot of riders I feel do this to kind of, if you want, the thinking behind it is, I'll do this so as I can put more pressure on the rein without pulling. Okay, so they've kind of almost like fooled themselves into thinking, okay, so I'm not actually pulling. My elbows did not move here. I did not pull. Nobody could accuse me of pulling. But they have actually shortened kind of the distance, if you want. Okay. Or they've kind of said to the horse, hey, there's more pressure being applied. Don't do that, okay? It's not a good way to ride. And you'll find that it, again, long term, it affects contact. The horse doesn't enjoy it. Don't do it, okay? Use your elbow and your shoulders. You've got it there. Use it. And I find the elbows much softer as well. Okay. And the final one that I wanted to talk about here is the one that I started off with is the knuckles being on top, okay? Now, this is one that I personally can resonate with because I spent quite a couple of years trying to fix this, especially my left hand. I don't know what was going on, but the left hand, I had issues, okay? And it kind of started off when I was work riding, doing some work riding in a racing yard, and it just, I don't know, it just stayed going because I never bothered fixing it. And it really became an issue. It was something I spent a lot of time trying to straighten out. Luckily I did. And every now and then I do have to still remind myself it's a well-grained habit, okay? So it is something. But I do think that what it does is it makes things hard, is the way I can describe it, okay? It kind of blocks the softness through the contact. And of course, then the horse responds and the horses start to go lopsided or wonky or one-sided, okay? Really and truly, if a rider is riding a horse in a particular way for any length of time, it is going to obviously impact the horse. So it's really, really important, okay, to keep your thumbs on top, okay? When you've got your knuckles on top, it changes everything. Now, a lot of riders, they're really good at keeping thumbs on top when they're on the straight. And the minute they turn a corner, you'll see the inside hand. There we go. We shift into, like, I think maybe we drive cars and we want to grab the gear stick. Okay, I don't know. But definitely they drop the hand, they straighten the elbow, and they turn the knuckles on top, okay? And of course, this is just pulling through the inside rein, which is not how we want to turn the horse. We want to ask the horse to turn, not turn the horse, okay? That's a whole other podcast episode, but there we go. It is really important. I think that when you can begin to think about your hands as being important aids, and almost like join the dots aids, okay? They really and truly will begin to play a bigger role in your riding. When you can focus on what you're doing with your hands, you'll see that the horse is going to respond, and he'll respond by actually wanting to connect with you, okay? That it's really, really important. I think when we don't pay attention to this, we can become hard and heavy with it. Remember, they are connected to something really important for your horse's mouth. So it's well worth taking the time to focus on this and to help your horse to really and truly build that connection with you in the future. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that for this week. If you have not already, go over and get the Daily Strides podcast calendar. It's a full calendar for whatever month you're listening to this in. Right now it's updated each month, and it'll give you past episodes that you can listen to all through the month to help you to improve your riding, and you won't find yourself on a random day with your horse with nothing to do. Gives you something for every single day. So you can find that over at stridesforsuccess.com/month. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Have a great week. Keep well. I'll chat to you soon. Be good. Bye.